Welcome to the Matt Reiser Radio Show on the Southeastern Sports Radio Network. Now, live from Buddy's Bar and Grill in Hammond, here's Alan Waddell.
25-15 overall and 12-6 in the Southland Conference, and really are facing their first major adversity of the season. This past week was a tough one. Our Lions dropped 2 one-run games in the midweek and then couldn't get anything going offensively in Natchitoches as our Lions lost their first conference series since April of 2017. This week, the Lions have a great opportunity to get back on track, though, as they host a huge game at home tomorrow night against number 13 Southern Miss, then host in-state rival Nicholls State for 2 games this weekend before wrapping up the series on Sunday in Thibodaux. Overall, our Lions have 16 big games left as they push towards the postseason again here in 2018. Good evening, Lion fans. I'm Alan Waddell, and I want to welcome you to the Matt Reiser Radio Show presented by North Oaks Health System, live from our home, Buddy's Bar and Grill, right here in Hammond. Thank you so much for joining us wherever you may be tonight, whether on the Lions Radio Network or watching the archive on Facebook or YouTube. We'll be with you until 8 o'clock, and over the next hour, we'll get Coach Reiser's thoughts on this past week and look ahead to this week's busy slate of games. But first, let's take a break. When we come back, I'll be joined by the head baseball coach of your Southeastern Lions, Matt Reiser. The Matt Reiser Radio Show is presented by North Oaks Health System and Buddy's Bar and Grill on the Southeastern Sports Radio Network.
America's pastime. 12 players drafted in the Reiser era. 2 Southland Conference championships. Back-to-back at-large regionals. Coming off a strong finish in 2017, another intense season is on the horizon, featuring a gauntlet of non-conference home games. New season, same goal. Don't miss out on any of the action.
All right, welcome back to Buddy's Bar and Grill. This is the Matt Reiser Radio Show. Thank you so much for joining us. We'll be with you until 8 o'clock tonight talking Lion baseball. At this time of the show, we're going to welcome the head baseball coach of your Southeastern Lions, Coach Matt Reiser. Coach, thanks for being here tonight. I know that just having a chance to visit with you off the air a little bit, I know you didn't play your best baseball this week, had a tough week, but you get right back at it this weekend.
Yeah, just glad they actually asked me to come back. I guess they had to because of the title, right? It was a rough week, man. Offensively, it's probably the roughest week we've had to date that I can remember, to be honest with you. You scored 12 runs in 5 games. It's really hard to win games. We tell Coach Latham all the time, hey, man, if you throw a shutout, man, we'll get a lot of wins, and we damn near did it, with our guys. And it's just a disappointing week. We went 1-4 on the week, and they got to get back to work. This is what we talked about after the Northwestern game is whenever you get in this moment, this is why these guys were recruited here, to handle these moments of adversity. Everybody can handle the good. When things are going well, you got plenty of support, plenty of people behind you, and everybody's patting you on the back and telling you how good you are. It's these weeks, those weeks when you go 1-4. And really, in reality, when you look at this in the schedule, probably going into the week, hey man, Southeastern should go at probably worst case 3-2, probably gonna go 4-1. Probably a really good chance to go 5-0 this week. We go 1-4. It's baseball, man. It's a game that we love and that will humble you extremely quick. And we got humbled pretty quick this week. So it's gonna be back to work. We got a great opportunity tomorrow night to get this thing back on track. And I think we recruited the right guys. We talked about it yesterday afternoon after the ball game, after we lost the series here at Northwestern State, that we definitely got the right guys in this program to handle this moment. So, it'll be exciting to get back out there tomorrow and see what we got.
That's one thing I was about to bring up a point of, Matt, is the fact that, the baseball season is so long. 56 games, it's the longest college season, in any sport. And you look up earlier this year, you'd won 9 out of 10, went on the road, beat Mississippi State. We're feeling really good. And then just you have points of the season where it's like this, and maybe you're not playing your best baseball. I know you mentioned it offensively. Really couldn't get anything going. It's just discouraging when you look at it in the midweek. You lose 2 one-run games, and then on the weekend, you really pitch well all weekend as well, but just can't get it on offensively. What do you see looking at this? What is your coaching staff looking back at the week? What went wrong offensively, I guess, is my question.
Yeah, I mean, there's some positive take out of it, obviously, with what we did pitching-wise, but, to I guess address the pink elephant in the room is what happened offensively. To be honest with you, that's what we're trying to figure out. I think some guys obviously had to line up shuffle a little bit. Had some guys that got some new opportunities in there that had some of our better at-bats, actually. And some of our key guys that have been our mainstays that stayed in the lineup just had some rough weekends. Kyle Schimpf was, I think we talked about 0 for 19 on the week. When your 3-hole goes 0 for 19 on the week, it's tough, man. It's really tough. And, the 4-hole got suspended for academic purposes, and so also he's out. And so just some new guys had some opportunities to step up and do some things, and it didn't work out for us. We weren't ready. They weren't prepared to get in there and run the offense like we want to run it. We screwed up a few bunts there. We had a few chances there against Northwestern State to get a guy in from third base and try to put some push bunts down, and missed-executed a few of them. So we just got to do a better job of getting back to work and kind of clicking on all cylinders. We talk about you're going to hit slumps, man. Offense is going to come and go a little bit. You got to be able to pitch and play D. And again, I kind of want to go back to the bright point of this week is we did that. I thought we played a lot of good defense. I thought also we pitched extremely well. And if we can get the offense going and just a blemish of what it was going before, then we can get back to winning some ball games.
Matt, you've been around this game a long time as a player, as a coach, and we all know in baseball it's probably the most mental game there is. And, you start doubting yourself a little bit. I mean, what do you do as a coach, as a staff with your players? I mean, you have guys that, like you just mentioned, that struggled, the last few games that are good hitters. Yep. And how do you get those guys out of that? What's kind of the step of getting those guys going from the mental side?
Well, the biggest thing we talk about, where does confidence come from? Confidence comes from preparation. So we've got to go back to that. Sometimes we talk about it, don't work harder, work smarter. If we're continue to work in the same area and make the same mistakes, then maybe we can try something a little bit different. Change the energy of the work ethic to something a little bit, whether it's, the stance or the approach or whatever it may be. I think a big part of our deal this week was our approach. I thought we had some really bad at-bats with 2 strikes. I thought we had some really bad at-bats with guys in scoring position. Our aggression level's got to go back up. The aggressiveness that we had, and it was kind of a weird week last week against Corpus and all those guys. We walked so many times with so many balls, where it was the exact opposite this week. The teams we played threw a lot of strikes. They were coming right at us with fastballs all weekend with Northwestern State. We got to get the aggression back. I thought we took a lot of good pitches to hit. I thought we took a lot of bad and defensive swings and some up counts and on fastball counts. And that's what our offense has always been known to produce off of. We've been a club that's always been able to dominate the fastball. Hey, you want to throw Aaron Hernandez out there that throws 93, 97, fine. We'll get on time with it and have some success with it. But this week I thought we just got really dominated with the fastball, and our approach has got to change. So we got to get back to that part of it. Not trying to fine-tune the swing mechanically. Mechanics is part of it. I think more it is our mentality and our approach there to play to get back to have some better offensive bats. Because when you look at this, and that's what I remind the guys, don't forget you beat guys like Schmidt from ULL, who's the Friday night guy for ULL, who's one of the best pitchers in the country. If you look at his ERA, I think he's pitching a 1-something ERA. He beat the Tim Cates and the Fiolis and those guys from UConn. So what's different? I mean, is the guy at Northwestern really that much better? No, he's not. And I think we focused and game planned a little bit better for those guys, and maybe went into the weekend not confident or maybe relaxed. I'm not sure exactly where it was. We'll get to the bottom of it, but go back into understand. Hey, man, you're good hitters because you've already shown you can do it against good competition. So don't get to the point where you ill will and you get discouraged into a point to where you just make it a whole season slump. We're going to go through slumps. It's going to happen. It's part of baseball. So we got to do a good job of finding ways to be offensive while we're not feeling good at the plate.
Matt, it just shows you, I think, where our program is. We're sitting here at 40 games. We're 25-15. 12-6 in the league, and a lot of programs around the country would die to be 25-15 and 12-6 in their conference, and we're sitting here and I can hear it in your voice, and you're frustrated with the way it's gone the last week. So that just shows you the expectations of this program.
No doubt, because we every year expectations continue to grow, and we want to take this thing to another level. And probably the one thing that I'll be dead honest with this. How I am with my inner self. I'm always honest with the public. I don't try to hold anything back. And what we killed the at-large bid. It's over, and that's the reality of it. But it doesn't mean the season's over. Everything we still want as far as is right in front of us. We're only 2.5 games out of first place to the regular season title. I think that obviously once we get to the conference tournament, that's 1 week of playing good baseball. So we've got to get back in the next 4 to 5 weeks of making sure we understand that. Yeah, maybe that large part of the things out of the picture, but it was in 2014 as well. And we made our run in there late in the season, and also made a run through the tournament and got in the regional. So there's other avenues to get into this. This doesn't mean the year's over, all season's over. Pack your bags, go home, get ready for next year. This means we got to roll up our sleeves and get some things done, and understand that there's another 5 weeks to get prepared for this and make a run at the regular season title. Because, like I said, we're still 2.5 games. All we got to do is keep Sam Houston within reach. If we can keep them within reach, we've got them there for a weekend, third place in 3 weeks. We can make up a lot of ground there. So we've got to do a good job of understanding that, but taking care of business and getting this thing fixed as quickly as possible.
All right, well, let's take a break. When we come back, we'll get Matt to break down some of these games from this past week right here on the Matt Rosser Radio Show, presented by North Oaks Health System and Buddy's Bar and Grill on the Southeastern Sports Radio Network.
What does it mean to be Southland strong?
It's not just big wins.
It's success in the classroom
and being engaged with service,
family, passion,
integrity,
overcoming adversity,
hard work and dedication,
bettering people around you,
striving for excellence,
leadership and competition
on our campuses
and in our communities.
We are Southland strong.
Welcome back to Buddy's Bar and Grill here at it's the Matt Rosser Radio Show. Thank you so much for joining us. I was a little off subject. It caught me off guard. We came back. We were talking about unis. We were talking about all these uniform combinations.
Uniswag.
And Colton Vickers and myself and Matt were kind of having a little uniform conversation there off the air. So maybe we'll bring that to the show here later on, coming up here until 8 o'clock. Matt, we mentioned it going into the break. Really the thing that kind of set us, off this past week was we really struggled in the midweek with a couple of games that were winnable games, and maybe the thing that we'll remember about 2018, and hopefully not what we remember, but one of the things we will remember is that Jackson State just had our number this year. We had 2 games that almost looked identical the way they played out. Up there, we're leading 3-1 late in the ball game, dropped that game late in the ball game 4-3, and then the same thing happened on Tuesday night. You jumped out to an early lead, you're up by 3, and it just kind of let them hang around in there, and they made a couple of plays late in the game.
Yeah, that was a frustrating game, and both of them were extremely frustrating. Like you said, you could kind of see it unfold about the 5th or 6th. Like, hey, man, this is laying out the same way. We've got multiple opportunities here in the middle innings to really extend this thing, and we continue to leave a guy at third base and not extend this lead, and you're going to leave yourself in a position late in the ball game where it's going to get close, and they're going to start getting confident that it's a close game, and they're going to start, overperforming a little bit and having some big at-bats, and, of course, it laid out the exact same way. And, I've got to figure out something with this club. This is where I've done, a poor job. Just the instinct of finishing some teams off. We've got to do a better job of having a finish mentality. Because we've had a few of these games, 5 or 6 of them, where I really feel like we could put some games out of reach, and we don't have to, sweat it out in the 9th inning. We've made some games extremely interesting there in the 9th. And this club has gotten very, I'm going to use this word, and they're not going to be very happy about it, but it's reality, content. We jump out to a quick 3-0 lead and or 2-1 lead in the second game here and 3-1 lead. And just kind of quit having at bats, and they threw the arms there in the middle innings to really get extended on, to be honest with you. They brought in a left-hander, I think, that walked 6, and we don't score a run. And that's tough, man, when you do that. It's frustrating, and I think that's where some of this comes into play. So we've got to do a much better job. We talked about it. It wasn't the Jackson State game and the ULL game that when you look at the two, the ULL game I wasn't worried about. It was the Jackson State game I was worried about, trying to get these guys, hey, man, get excited for Jackson State. We're at home. You better be just excited about playing the 1927 Yankees as you are playing Jackson State. You just better be excited playing the game. And I thought we did a good job coming out with the right energy. We got the lead and just thought we were going to coast. And just, look, man, it's a game you can't coast in. It's a game that you've got to make sure you get that finish mentality and that pit bull mentality where when you start smelling blood and feeling it, you better go for the throat and jugular. And we have not done a good job at that this year, and that's on me. I'll take full responsibility for that. I've got to figure out how to get these guys a little bit more grittier, to be honest with you, because that's a game that even when it does get tied up late there in the ball game, that we should grit out and find a way to win. If you look at some of these games throughout the year, the really good programs, everybody has a few scares like this during the season. And when I say the scare, you're playing what you feel is an inferior opponent. And it's, hey, man, we're down by 4 late in the ball game. All of a sudden you look up, and the team who's supposed to win the game comes back and wins it late. We've seen it happen, with us in LSU before. And you see it happen multiple times in SC, especially in the midweek games. I can't remember who it was last week, but they're down by 4 to Grambling State. It was Arkansas. Yeah. They're down by 4 last week in the midweek to Grambling. And going to the 9th inning. They score 5 in the 9th and win the game, and so nobody ever remembers that they played Grambling to a 1-running game, right? Hey, man, we got the win. We moved on. We learned from it. Let's go. We've got to do a better job of doing that as well, and I thought that was kind of the game that set the tone for the week, unfortunately. Hey, man, we've got to get this thing fixed mentality-wise.
And then you go over there on Wednesday night, you take on UL Lafayette, the Raging Cajuns, a team you beat earlier in the year. You play at their place, one of the toughest places that you play all year. A very tough venue over there. And again, you get off to a really good start over there. You go up 2-0. You actually score in the first inning, go up 1-0. Then you get the home run from Trey Morgan. You're up 2-0 in this ball game. And it ends up being a great ball game. But like you mentioned, maybe a couple of times in that game, maybe could have extended that lead. Yeah, and this was a little bit different than Jackson State because obviously ULL is notorious for being on a pitch, and I thought they pitched it well. And I thought we had some better at-bats there in that game. But, the big at-bat that sticks out in my head is the top of the 9th. We got to run at third there with 1 out. We get the guy into scoring position where we can have the quality at bat. All we need is a sac fly or a line drive through the infield. We'll score a run, take the lead 4-3. We hit an infield pop up, and obviously we go into extra innings there. And again, the ULL game doesn't look as bad if you take care of business on Tuesday, but now you're compounding the Jackson State game with now ULL in extra innings, and now you got a 3-game losing streak. So now the pressure's on, right? All the pressure's on your shoulders to, hey man, we got to snap the losing streak. And now you get that thought process. As opposed to, hey, man, it was just a midweek game. We played well. Came up a little bit short, but now all the pressure's starting to build with a game like this. And, again, another one we felt unfortunate. We felt that we had really in hand because the at-bat that we had in that 9th inning was definitely the one to end it. We make the play in the 11th inning. That was kind of our conversation. They tried to run the squeeze. That's one of the best plays I've ever seen.
It is. It's no doubt a top 10 ESPN play by Wassinger. Does a fantastic job of getting the ball. He studs the guy right there at the plate right before he gets there. You're supposed to win that game. You don't lose that game. But you know what their guy did? Their guy did. Hey man, I didn't get this. I didn't get the squeeze down. He refused. He dug in with 2 strikes and 2 outs instead of feeling sorry for himself. And this is the grit we're talking about. We've got to find. He dug in and said, hey man, I'm gonna find a way to just put it in play. And dude, he dinks one. I mean, literally a dinker right over the second baseman's head. But hey, it's a game winner, so they get to walk off and celebrate with a 4-3 win. And obviously, you know, the things continue to build against us for the week.
Matt, and you mentioned earlier, had a couple of guys that struggled throughout the week, but it's going to be very hard to win on the road when you're 3, 4, 5 guys go 0 for 15.
Yeah.
Went 0 for 15 in this game. It seemed like the only thing we could get going was the top of the order. I thought Cody Gross was outstanding. Drew Avens was outstanding in this game as well. But when those big bats in the middle of the order aren't driving in runs, that's one of the reasons you see low run totals. But this was a really good college baseball game. I thought it was 2 good teams. UL is certainly a team that they're trying to figure it out here these last few weeks. They're starting to play a lot better.
They swept Georgia Southern, App State this weekend.
But certainly a game that you could have won. And again, Drew has been an outstanding player this year. He's been an outstanding player for his career here. That ball just slips out of his glove down there on the right field line in that inning, which gives them an opportunity there for the game winner as well. You're going to give somebody a second chance.
Yeah, you know, and it was, to be honest with you, it's a breakdown communication. You know, Drew goes full force at it, but we didn't do a good job on our corners with the catching position and third base to communicate to him. You know, it's kind of an odd ballpark where, you know, you got plenty of foul territory, and all of a sudden it jolts back to the line where you only get about 2 or 3 feet from the foul line that you run into that brick wall. So, you know, Drew's trying to figure out where he's at, and we're standing there. We're just spectating. We didn't do a very good job on that play of getting over there and communicating to Drew that he had room to be able to make that play and make confidence. So, you know, that's some of the issues that we have going on that we're trying to fix defensively, and kind of what we decided for the weekend. Hey, man, we're going to go in there and do what we can defensively to pitch and D it up and keep ourselves in the ball game where once we in the back could obviously win it for us, and just unfortunately we didn't get the very many of those swings this weekend.
Matt, let's talk about the weekend a little bit. You go on the road, you take on Northwestern State, the Demons on for Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Now the weather would not cooperate, and on Friday you end up getting canceled. It was a little opposite. Down here in South Louisiana, we got all the rain on Saturday, but up there they really got it on Friday and rained out that game and pushed to have a doubleheader on Sunday, correct?
Saturday.
No, Saturday. Doubleheader on Saturday, single game on Sunday against the Demons.
Yeah, you know, I thought it was a good call by Bobby Barbier, the head coach here at Northwestern State. He called me on the way up. We looked at a few different things, options of possibly driving up Thursday night and trying to play that game early Friday. The forecast looked like it was going to come in a little bit earlier, and then, you know, of course, Mother Nature goes back to the original game plan and goes back to late. So we go up the day of there on Friday, but he made a good call. Man, let's push the game. You know, I think actually softball got started. I think they got 3 or 4 innings in, but it's so much different in our game than softball because of our arms. You know, we can't once you start your arm, you can't really bring it back, and so it was a situation. You know, we had to make a call on it to go ahead and cancel, and so. If you look across the parking lot, softball was playing, but it's a different game. You know, obviously for us with the starting pitchers, we want to make sure those guys were protected and obviously didn't put either guy at disadvantage. And so we got out there, you know, up there Friday, got a little work in the cages and around the mound and in the infield a little bit. So and then obviously got there Saturday to play this doubleheader. And you know, we knew it was going to be wet conditions. You know, the wind flipped. The wind went from blowing in to blowing dead out, and it was kind of a weird weekend. Very rarely do you see the wind blowing out at 20 miles an hour, and I think an entire weekend by both teams, I think it was like 14 or 15 runs scored by both teams combined. So very, very rare to see those conditions and that type of offensive production. But you got to tip your hat. That's how well both clubs pitched it, and I don't want to take anything away from their guys. Their guys did pitch well. You know, I think we had some of the bats we needed, but their guy did pitch well, especially the Friday guy went CG against us. Heisler had a really good mix of his fastball and his changeup, mixed in a few breaking balls here and there on the left-handers as well, and you know, he was kind of as advertised. You know, there was nothing outstanding stuff-wise, but a guy who was just going to pitch and compete, and he did that against us there in Game 1 on Saturday.
Yeah, I should have got Damon to look this up. I'm sure he could have figured it out. But I don't know how many times that a club you've coached has been shut out, but it hasn't been many. I know that since you've been the head coach here at Southeastern, and complete game. And didn't strike out a lot of guys. He only struck out 5 in 9 innings, so he put the ball in play, but only 2 hits. Just really struggled to get anything going in game 1.
Yeah, he just kept us off balance, to be honest with you. I mean, there was not a whole lot of, and again, this is kind of where we got back offensively. We got to get more productive with our outs, although we had a lot of lazy outs. Our outs have got to be a little bit louder, whether it's barrels and line drives or put some pressure on the defense with moving guys over, putting some base hit bunts down, whatever it may be. When it's asked to execute, need to execute the push bunts to get the guy in for third base or execute the hit and run. But, I'll say again, tip your hat to him because he outpitched our guy. I thought our guy pitched well, and Josh Green, I thought he, did his deal there on Friday night again. His pitch count got a little bit more elevated than what it had been. But we brought Chase Schaefer in, who shut the door there and kept us right in the ball game. We just can never get anything going offensively there.
Matt, let's talk about game 2. Really did a nice job in this one. I thought Carlisle Kessler gave you an outstanding start in game 2. And they always talk about sometimes that guy in the rotation that's kind of the stopper. They need to come in and stop the bleeding a little bit. And I thought he did that in game 2. Gave you a really nice start. You were able to get just enough. This was another. It seemed like the game was going to end the exact same way. It was we were winning 2-0.
Right.
Almost late into the ball game. We scored 2 in the first. You were able to add 2 in the 9th, which was nice to give you a little breathing room to make it 4-0 going to that 9th inning. But you win this one 4-1 on Saturday afternoon.
Yeah, back against the wall, man. We'd now lost 4 in a row. And obviously what we did offensively game 1 did not make things look comfortable for game 2, I should say. But that was our conversation of game 1. Don't let this offensive production in this first game allow it to be a doubleheader sweep. Do a good job, come out with the right energy, come out, give us some better bats early. And we did that. We jumped on the starter there early, and he was the guy with their best numbers going in the weekend as far as what he had done with ERA and strikeouts and walks and whatnot. And we did a good job of making a statement there early. Hey, man, we're not going to feel sorry for ourselves. We're going to come out and swing the bat and get back aggressive. And we did that, so it was good to see. I think Cody Gross led off the game there with a triple, and Paludi comes up there with a knockback up the middle for a single to score him. And then we were able to do some things offensively, moving guys over and getting guys in. Shemp drives in the guy there at third base, so we scored 2 runs there in the first. And Trey Schaefer gets his first career hit. Hits a big 2-out triple. We kind of set it up there to where we had first and third and 1 out, and this is one of the bunts we talked about that we bunted right back to the pitcher. Unfortunately, we try to do these push bunts. If we do miss, we're supposed to miss the first baseman because it'll at least score the run. And we bunted right back to the pitcher. They throw the guy out the plate. So this is one of those moments we talked about. You can feel sorry for yourself as a club and go, oh, man, we still can't score. We still can't get things done. Or, hey, man, the teammate behind you is going to pick you up. And Trey Schaefer did that. He came up with a huge at-bat there in the 9th inning. Gets the big 2-out, 2-run triple there. And they made a heck of a play there in the 9th inning. We go in the 9th inning with a 4-run lead up 4-0. And, they put a few barrels there on Biddy and got some things going a little bit. But the Quan Atkins kid splits a gap there with guys at first and third and 2 outs. And to be honest with you, when it came off the bat, I thought it was a double in the gap. I really did. Trey Schaefer did a fantastic job. This is where the defense did come in and play for us. He felt good after getting the big knock with 2 outs. He goes and makes a tremendous play out there in the gap to seal the win for us and end the losing streak.
Lions win this one 4-1 on Saturday in the second game of a doubleheader. I want you to talk a little bit about that. Trey Schaefer got the start in center field. Yep. Nathan Paludi in the 2-hole played in right field. He played a lot this weekend as well. Mixing them up a little bit, trying some different guys out in the lineup.
Yeah, with Mike being out and being suspended, Paludi got the start all weekend there in right field and thought did an okay job. He got in there a little bit more confident. And then Trey Schaefer, we tried to go with the defense. Also, we pitched in there in game 1, and this is the tricky part with two-way players sometimes. You got to figure out how to manage the defense and obviously the arm as well with the offense. So, he got his chance to start and run out there and do his deal. And, hopefully we'll get some more things settled with this lineup. We had Cade Papoli started there on on game 3 because he had to come in there late in the game on game 2 because Cody Gross separated his shoulder again, got it dislocated again. So an injury we're monitoring closely. Obviously, he's had a history of this. He did against UNO. He's a tough kid. He's a tough young man and don't want to come out that lineup. But obviously, you could see a little bit there on Sunday of the weakness in the swing with how much it was bothering him there as we DH'd him.
Well, talk about a little bit about Sunday. An opportunity to come out and get the series. Didn't happen that way. It got 8 hits, but really couldn't get anything offensively going in this one. You trailed for a majority of the game, dropped it 5-2. And, Matt, you'd won 10 conference series in a row. So the last time you dropped a conference series was over a year ago. It was in early April last year against Texas A&M Corpus Christi. So, it was a very impressive streak. Just didn't happen there on Sunday.
Yeah, we talked about Energy Sunday, and I thought the energy was actually pretty good from our guys. But, they threw the knockout blow, to be honest with you, kind of there in the ninth inning. We had 2 outs and nobody on base. And, unfortunately, we had back-to-back walks here with Will Warren that made it first and second, 2 outs. Their guy came off the bench and got a huge 2-run double there to extend that lead to 5-2. And lo and behold, in the ninth inning, we have a little fireworks, whatever you want to call it, a little interesting thing prevail here where Schimpf actually gets tossed. He gets rung up on strike 3, gets thrown out. So obviously me and the umpire have a little bit of a conversation, but I thought our guys responded well to it. The guys, we get a few knocks, a few hits. Next thing you know, you look up, we got bases loaded with 2 outs and Trey Morgan a 2-0 count. You usually like chances in that moment. Unfortunately, Trey pulled off of a little bit and hit a pop fly there to center field. But if he splits a gap, it's a tie ball game. So I was glad to see the fight, resilience of our club trying to fight back in and show the competitiveness. And I think they'll always do that. I think that's been our MO since day one. But obviously, we've got to play better on a Sunday like that. We've got to go out. And we looked at it, actually, and unfortunately, and I'll give a stat for you that doesn't favor us by any means. And it's kind of a tale of two tales. And this is kind of what this club has kind of pictured. And what I mean by this is we've shown up for good clubs. We've got the wins against LSU and Mississippi State and beat UConn obviously there, who's now in the top 25 again and rolling there in the American Conference. But we've had some good wins. We've had some really bad losses as well that we've discussed. We're 7-2 in game 1 of series. That means on Friday night we're going out and getting after it and finding a way to win. And that includes this weekend where we lost on the game 1 of the series. We're 3-6 in game 3 of the series. That's a little concerning because for me, game 3 is a little bit about your attitude, a little bit about your mentality. Hey man, are you getting relaxed? Hey, well, that's okay. We can just kind of roll out there and do our deal, throw the ball out there and go win. What's going on mentality-wise? Because I think the game 3 is a separator. Also, we talk about it. That's the one that makes me feel good, especially on Monday. If we can get that win, if we win yesterday, I'm sitting here probably in a little bit better mood. Because we got now 11 series in a row, and it's another conference win. We're sitting at 13-5. We're only a game and a half behind Sam Houston as opposed to 2.5 games. But it's the game it's all about the energy, man. It's all about the attitude. It's all about the effort that we're giving, and it's all about the confidence of being able to go out there and take a series.
Yeah, that's surprising as well with the amount of quality starters that you've been able to roll out there. More depth than most teams in the Southland Conference certainly have. Let's go ahead and get to a break. We got to, and then we're going to turn the page and let Matt talk about this upcoming week right here on the Matt Rosser Radio Show, presented by North Oaks Health System and Buddy's Bar and Grill on the Southeastern Sports Radio Network.
Across divisions, sports, championships, and schools for nearly 500,000 student athletes, college sports create lifelong opportunity, and that starts with education. We've raised the academic bar, so more are earning degrees, creating healthier campuses by working with the nation's brightest minds, and making sure more have the chance to succeed and are supported on their journey. But beyond the numbers, it's about opportunity, and we're working to provide it for every student athlete.
All right, welcome back. We have just a little bit over 25 minutes to go on our program here. We'll be with you till 8 o'clock here live from Buddy's Bar and Grill. Thank you so much for joining us. Just a reminder, this broadcast will be archived and replayed on Facebook on the Southeastern Louisiana University Athletics Facebook page and also on YouTube. Mr. Colton Vickers comes every Monday night and gets that up for you guys. So if you missed what Matt maybe talked about the past 30 minutes, you can go online and watch the archive later on tonight. It will be up and then throughout the week. Lions turned the page this week, had a kind of a tough one this past week as they dropped 2 out of 3 to Northwestern State, dropped a couple of one-run games in the midweek. But one thing that you can be confident in, Lion fans, and this is one reason why I believe that we have one of the best coaches in the country, is Matt is a great motivator, and his teams do not stay in Fawkes very long. I know that about what he's done here at Southeastern. Lions are 25-15. They're 12-6 in the conference. And, Matt, you have an opportunity to really have a statement win tomorrow night. As Southern Miss, a very good team, comes to Hammond. It's great to have Southern Miss back on the schedule. You played them a year ago over at MGM Park. But this was a team that was kind of absent from the schedule there for a couple of years. And this is a very good team that comes in here. And you mentioned earlier, your team has played better in the bigger games. So hopefully, I know you're looking for your team to respond tomorrow night.
Yeah, it is, and we talked about it. You hit the nail on the head. History's on our side here, and you know we've been known to really play our best baseball here at the end of the year, and none of that changes. And hopefully that gives some of our guys some confidence, but at the same time, doesn't give them that the only thing to rely on. Hey, man, you know the reason we've had success at the back part of the year is because guys have been confident, knowing that's why they were recruited here to handle adversity. They've been the right guys who can handle adversity. They're tough enough to handle the adversity. They're the guys who work hard enough to overcome the adversity, and they're the guys who thrive in those adverse moments. So, obviously, I think that's part of going forward. Obviously, with tomorrow night with Southern Miss, I think it's going to be a great atmosphere. Should be electric. I've got a feeling there's going to be a lot of green and gold out there in the stands, rooting us on, supporting us on. You know, this is the neat part about what our fan base has done. They've stayed behind us, and I think that's in past years, you know, where we've gone in this little lull. The fans have continued to show up. You know, I go back to my first year with ULL when they won 50-something games, and we're in a 6 or 7 game losing streak. You know, you look up in the stands, and there's 2,000 people there. There's 2,500 people there. They do a good job of continuing to come out and support, and we're going to need them. And that's the reality of this. We're going to need you guys to show up tomorrow night. Excited because, again, you know, just like I tell the guys, everybody can come when it's going well. Everybody can handle it when it's going well. It's when it's going bad, you know, and those guys need that support because when we have that crowd at home, they do play at another level. When they see that support, when they are playing bad and you guys continue to support them and back them, it just makes them more confident in what they're doing. So we're calling all you Lion fans, get out there tomorrow night, help us go and beat the Golden Eagles tomorrow night there at home.
6 o'clock first pitch against Southern Miss as Matt, talk about what makes this Southern Miss team good. I mean, they've had a really good season this year. I know that they started out the year with a sweep over Mississippi State. They really came out the gate strong. They've been high in the RPI all year long, and they've been a top 25 team since week 1. So this is a very quality opponent, maybe the best team that's been on the schedule this year so far.
Yeah, you know, it goes back to what they know how to do. They've always been able to score runs. We saw that last year there at MGM, and that was one of the most prolific offenses that you saw in the country last year, probably the best offense we saw in the country last year on our schedule. And it's very similar to what they've had this year. They lost a few of those big boppers, but obviously they replaced a few of those guys as well, and you got some returners that are playing really well. So it's a club we're going to have to pitch against. We're going to have to do a good job of obviously keeping them off balance, and Mason Knopp has done a good job of, you know, with his starts the last few weeks and really proving himself. So this will be a nice challenge for him to go out there against the Golden Eagles and go, you know, produce and, you know, maybe get himself into the weekend rotation consideration, because this is our last midweek game until the end of the year. So we've only got 2 left, including tomorrow night. So you're talking about weeks.
Almost a month.
We're talking about weeks. We're going in a 3-game week. So the 5 starters, you know, we're going to get down to 3 a week now as opposed to 4 a week. You know, once this is over. So this will be a great opportunity for him to go out, prove himself, and possibly work himself into weekend rotation, which is going to be tough to crack.
So the Lions will take on Southern Miss tomorrow night. Then they're going to welcome in Nicholls State for a split series, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Friday and Saturday will be in Hammond, and then Sunday will be in Thibodaux. The way that they used to do this is you'd play Nicholls State and UNO. You'd split the series, play Friday at one park, then you go on the road for Saturday, and you come back and play on Sunday. You talked about it earlier in the year. Maybe for our fans that didn't hear that conversation, what's the reason for moving it to Friday and Saturday at one location and then playing Game 3 on the road?
Yeah, it helps with the rain. We got in the situation a few years ago. We lost our senior day because of the UNO series. We're supposed to play Saturday home, but we get rain, so therefore we lose the home game. We got to play a double now on Sunday at their place, and it's funny because the way we set this up was Friday, Saturday, and Sunday at their place to play, not lose the home game. But we actually did a double with UNO this year and got all 3 games at home as opposed to playing one there. But by the conference rule, this is our home series. So therefore, we should at least get one of the home games in this. So or 2 of the home games in this. So it's helped set up. If you get rain Friday or Saturday, or you see it forecasted, you can move it up or back to do a double on Friday. It's hard to make that call for a Sunday. If we're going to get rain out on Friday and it's kind of iffy, or hey, maybe we could get rain on Sunday, you really don't want to play those 2 games on Saturday on the road when it's supposed to be your home series. So this helps us kind of venture that out a little bit. The Friday, Saturday set up and 2 night games. Nothing like Louisiana Saturday night and in the ballpark with Super Lions Saturday there against Nichols at 6 p.m. So it'll be a different start time as well. Yeah,
I'll give you the whole schedule for Super Lions Saturday in just a moment. Matt, I want you to break down Nichols just a little bit. This is a team that they've been playing well here of late. I know you know Coach Tibb very well. Ever since he's taken over down there at Nichols, a scrappy team. I know they're gonna they play a lot similar to maybe the way Jay did whenever he was here at Southeastern, the head coaches. A lot of small ball with bunting and trying to play defense. But talk about Nichols State and what they do over there for the Colonels.
Yeah, that's been kind of the history. They've always been able to pitch it, play a little bit of defense, and then just been really scrappy on offense, just to find a way to create runs. With their speed, they like their speed. They like to hit the ball on the ground and run a little bit. They've been a little bit more offensive this year than years past, but they've been a little bit less on the mound than what they have been in years past as well. So it's going to be a weekend we're going to have to get in the bullpen. They've got some good starters in the front line with their 1, 2, 3. So the bullpen's a little bit thinner for them than what it has been in years past. They don't have the prolific closer, and they don't have the setup guys like they have in years past. So it'll be a weekend we're going to have to do a good job of really grinding those starting pitchers to try to get in the bullpen and get some runs and get extended leads and that kind of stuff, because, again, they're a little bit more offensive this year than what they have been in years past. But a gritty club, always, we always get their A game when we play Nichols. This is obviously a big weekend for them every year when we play them, and obviously for us as well. But a lot of the similarities as far as our guys have played with their guys, whether it's been a summer ball or played high school ball together. Just the good in-state rivalry stuff that we always talk about. But a weekend, and we're going to have to do a few things there with their starting pitching.
All right, let's talk about Super Lions Saturday for just a moment. This has become a tradition here at Southeastern. They try to have as many events on one day as they can, and they've done it. So kind of give you the schedule. First of all, softball will be at home at 12 o'clock against Central Arkansas. And if you haven't been paying attention, Southeastern softball having their best season in quite some time. They went on the road this past week and swept Northwestern State. They are currently tied for first place in the Southland Conference. So a great job, Lady Lions softball. They play at 12 o'clock against Central Arkansas over at North Oak Park. The football spring game, the Frank Selfo era begins at 2 o'clock, as the spring game will be played at 2 o'clock at Strawberry Stadium. And then you mentioned it, Matt, usually a 2 o'clock first pitch on Saturday for your club. You're going to push it back. You're going to start at 6 o'clock on Saturday. So you have an opportunity to catch softball at noon, football at 2 o'clock, and then baseball at 6. And there's also some other things going on. Starting at 4 o'clock, there will be an alumni reception tailgate in the parking garage for baseball. You can RSVP to this event you can email to laa@southeastern.edu, and that will get your spot there. Always have a great turnout for the alumni weekend. And, this is kind of different. Usually alumni weekend is the beginning of the year. This is alumni reunion. So they're asking all former Lions, come on out. You will be recognized before the game. There will be a tailgate and a reception right there before the game starting at 4 o'clock. So, again, if you're listening to this, you want to be a part of that, go to email laa@southeastern.edu to RSVP your spot. Also, the North Shore Broadcasting guys will be out there from 1 to 5 between Dugas and Alumni Field, so they'll have a big tailgate on the radio for you as well. So a lot going on Saturday. You have some high-profile games, Matt. Tuesday against Southern Miss, and then a lot of focus will be on your program on Saturday night.
Yeah, it's going to be a great week to be back at the Pat, man. I'll be honest with you. And when you're in a lull like we were last week, you couldn't be more excited about getting back at home, man. This is going to be a great opportunity for our guys to get back in front of the home crowd and really show what they're really made of. Hey, man, everybody goes through their tough moments in time, in the season, in life. It's not those moments that defy you. It's what you do after that. So it'll be a great week for us to be able to go and show these guys what we really are.
All right, let's take our final break. When we come back, we'll have some questions for Coach Reiser, and we'll wrap it up here on the Matt Reiser Radio Show, presented by North Oaks Health System and Buddy's Bar and Grill on the Southeastern Sports Radio Network. All right, welcome back here. We have about 10 minutes to go here on our program. Thank you so much for being with us tonight, wherever you may be, on the Lions Radio Network or watching the archive on Facebook or YouTube. Lions have 4 games this week. Tomorrow night, 6 o'clock first pitch. Your Lions will take on Southern Miss. The Golden Eagles, the number 13th ranked team in the country, will be in Hammond. And then over the weekend, Friday, Saturday, in Hammond. Saturday will be Super Lions Saturday, and then on Sunday we'll be down in Thibodaux. We'll monitor the weather. We'll see how that all works out. That's one good thing about having turf and an outfield that drains outstanding, is that you can get a lot of those games in at home. As this is the point of the show, we always take questions for Coach Reiser. And Matt, I got a couple of questions that come in here for you tonight. The first question is going to be about the pitching rotation, and you kind of talked about this earlier. It says, right. Matt, your thoughts about what you're going to do pitching-wise, considering this is your last midweek game for a while. Yeah. I guess that's asking about, what you're going to do when you get to these 3 game
weeks. Right. Yeah. I think it's pretty mainstay that Josh Green and Carlisle Kessler obviously will stay there on the weekend. And then it'll pretty much be matchup on that Sunday game, for us. Grenier, I thought, gave us a decent outing there against Northwestern State. His pitch count actually got pretty elevated. I didn't expect it to get that elevated that quickly this past weekend. But Corey Giaccone's been pitching well. I thought he threw well against ULL. He had the one inning there where he gave up the 3 runs. But other than that, I thought he was, pretty much flawless in what he did. And I thought he pounded the bottom of the zone. And they're different guys, and I think that's going to be a neat thing. All 3 of those stars we're talking about possibly on Sunday, Mason Knopp, Corey Giaccone, and K. Grenier all do a little bit something different. Grenier's got more of the slider with the sinker. Giaccone's more of obviously the command part of the fastball along with the changeup. Can get more of the lefties out than what kind of Grenier can. And then Knopp's, the fly ball guy. He can dominate with a fastball. He can really stay low on the pitch count. Get a lot of swings. These teams that are in swing mode or want to take either way, he can dominate the zone with a fastball and get these guys in swing mode pretty quickly. So it's just going to kind of match up with the weekends. We were not ready to announce what we're going to do rotation-wise yet this weekend, besides that obviously Green and Carlisle will be there Friday, Saturday. But I would imagine more than likely you're going to see a rotation change here in the next couple of weeks. And it'll be more of a matchup and not necessarily based off of performance. I think all those guys, whatever gives the best chance to win. I mean, that's the honest to God truth. Some guys will be better for us out of the pen. I think that's going to be the exciting part about this too. Whatever guy you don't throw in the starting rotation is going to be coming out of the bullpen for you now too.
Right.
So that's going to be pretty exciting to see as well. So that's this pitching core we're talking about, and that's really we talked about it a little bit in the break. We get the tournament time with the 5 starting arms that we have. That's going to be pretty exciting, man. I mean, this is a rotation and a pitching staff that can really carry us deep into the postseason. It's one that, also you can make a run here at the back end of the season. You go win the conference tournament. You get into regionals. This is the staff we had in 15 and we kind of felt really, really good about if we could ever get into the postseason play that could go win us a regional and super and all that kind of good stuff. So, it's going to be exciting moving forward, but I think that's kind of where it's going to pan out. The 1, 2 will stay the same. The 3 will kind of roll depending on who we play.
Matt, your next question is about Taylor Schwanner. And the question is, Matt, we've seen Taylor in and out of the lineup the last few games. Is this injury-related or performance-related?
No, it's performance-related. He had the little injury there against Corpus, and we got it all evaluated there on Monday. And, it was a sprained MCL, so we want to try to take it easy there kind of earlier in the week with him. With giving the midweek off with ULL just to give full time. But this weekend kind of got more into, hey, man, we're trying to be real defensive right now. And Trey Harrington played well. You got to tip your hat to him. He hit 33 last week for us and played a really good third base for us last week there. So, also you got to go to the DH with Schwarner. Really want to start Schwarner the DH there on that last game against Northwestern State. But with Cody Gross going down with a shoulder injury, not being able to play defense and having to start, Papoli there at second base, it kind of limited our options of what we could do with Schwarner. So now he was my bopper to come off the bench. You saw it against ULL where he almost came in. He did, man. He came in. He did a good job of preparing himself and staying ready. I thought he was prepared and ready on Sunday when he came in, got his bat there on Sunday against Northwestern, and did a good job of getting the next guy up and continue to get the ball game moved along to get the next hitter up. He would have been the last out if he doesn't beat the ball out there at first base. So, but he'll be back in the lineup. I mean, it's a deal that he's not going to stay out of the lineup. It's some things we just try to do this weekend as far as defensively. And the guy played well. Hopefully, with these injuries, they'll work themselves out to where we'll definitely get Schwarner back there in the lineup because I think he has to go. I mean, in order for us to do what we want to do offensively, he has to be a guy that's going to be in the middle of the order just with his presence and obviously production. I think that's the part of it. It's close. I think it's getting more confident what he's trying to do from his approach standpoint. And we're getting close to the back end half of this year where, hey, man, go ahead and hit that stride, man. Get hot like you need to and do your deal. But he'll be back in the lineup tomorrow night.
And no doubt, you look at what he did a year ago, and this is a guy that it's in there, and he can get it going and carry a team. I mean, we saw him do it a year ago where we were kind of talking during the break, and a lot of those big games a year ago, he homered and walked off some games and had his best performance in some of these big games. So certainly we hope he can turn it on the final 16 games of the year and then certainly into the postseason. We know that it's in there for Taylor Schwanner. Matt, just a few minutes left to go here on our program. Once again, to kind of reset the stage for you, Lions 25-15 overall. They're 12-6 in the conference. Coming off of a tough week this past week. Dropped 2 out of 3 against Northwestern State. A couple of one-run games in the midweek, but have some big games, some great opportunities this week. Tomorrow night against Southern Miss, a 6 o'clock first pitch. The Golden Eagles come to the Pat, and then this weekend, Friday and Saturday at home, Sunday on the road at Nichols. The schedule once again for Super Lions Saturday on it's kind of duh. I don't know what I was going to say, but it's Super Lions Saturday. The schedule for Saturday will be 12 o'clock softball. They're going to be playing UCA at North Oak Park, and then Friday 6 o'clock. I'm sorry, Friday. What am I doing? I'm sorry. Here we go. Let me refocus. Saturday schedule: 2 o'clock spring game football at Strawberry Stadium. 12 o'clock will be the softball game in Central Arkansas, and then baseball will be at 6 o'clock. There's also a baseball reunion that will start at 4 o'clock and tailgate in the parking garage. RSVP at LAA at southeastern.edu, and also North Shore Broadcasting will be out there from 1 to 5, a tailgate between Dugas and Alumni Field. I'm sorry I got a little tongue twisted there. Got a lot to talk about. There's a lot going on Saturday, but Matt, one thing that I love about you, and as I've been around you, is how positive you are and how quickly you can turn things around with this team. I know you were disappointed this past week, but you've always been able to get your guys to rise to the occasion, and I look forward to watching your team compete this week. Give us your final thoughts tonight as we have a couple of minutes left before Southern Miss tomorrow night and Nichols this weekend.
Yeah, that makes two of us, man. I think a lot of people are excited about watching us compete, moving forward because, again, we talked about it. These moments don't define you, man. It's what you do after these moments. And like I said, we recruit the right guys. We got a lot of experience that's back, a lot of veterans and leadership there that's back for us that's gone through this lull in the season before, and they know how to get out of it. They know what it takes to get out of it. And I think we'll be looking forward to obviously the back end of the season getting hot again there for us. I do want to give a shout out to Rick Freeman and the softball ladies. They did a fantastic job. They showed up with energy there on Saturday for us. We were both at Northwestern State. They'd finish off their doubleheader sweep, and instead of going and celebrating that and as a team off, maybe at dinner or something like that, they showed up in the ballpark. And I'll be honest with you, it gave us the energy we needed to get a big win there at Northwestern because all of them count, man. They're huge for us, and they're having a fantastic season. I think they're tied for first place right now. They're in the conference, or 26-16 overall. There you go. Yeah, he pulled it up there. What he's done with the softball program and turned around has been fantastic. And it's pretty neat when you talk about Lion family, who we are and what we are as a department, as a university, the people we have around our program. He comes up this morning and just, hey man, I'm gonna keep it real quick. I know everybody's telling you that don't jump off a cliff and that kind of stuff. You guys are really good at what you do. That's how I'm gonna keep it simple. You guys are really good at what you do. I know there's some bright things coming ahead for you guys for sure. And then just those little small words, just that one sentence, man, it just reiterates. Also we know that, but when you hear it and reiterates it, why they're successful and why they can handle some things as well and had such a successful season to this date. And so just big shout out to them. Very, very happy and proud they're a part of our program, and really appreciate those ladies coming out and supporting us.
All right, we're completely out of time. We'll see you tomorrow night at 6 o'clock at the Pat as the Lions battle Southern Miss as the Lions take on the Golden Eagles. For Matt Roger, I'm Alan Waddell. We'll see you next time on the Matt Roger Radio Show presented by North Oaks Health System and Buddy's Bar and Grill on the Southeastern Sports Radio Network. Line up, everybody.